let's move on to Wombat's Fortnightly News.
Sure.
Did everybody read the New York Times article that people got upset about? All the people with no kids got upset about?
No.
Right. It was a totally okay article which interviewed parents about the situation that they face with their children spending so much time on screens because it's a pandemic. And everybody recognizes that there's not, in the article, that there's not a lot of options because
pandemic.
Can't really go anywhere. But even still, parents are concerned because parents' job is to be concerned for the welfare of their children.
Yeah.
And parents are going to be concerned. So they interviewed a couple families, including the children, about these concerns. And they had some interviews with some doctors who also were concerned. And that was the article. And people did not like that article. They flipped out about every part of it. A big complaint was, oh my God, that 14-year-old just got shamed publicly for playing too much Xbox. Like, I mean, it's totally possible that the parents are crazy and they decided to do an interview with their, about their family, including their 14-year-old kid, without getting the kid's permission, and said, hey, you have to, or said, you got to do this interview with the New York Times and give them quotes and sit for pictures. Otherwise, we're not giving you dinner. Or like that. We're going to
cut off the Xbox.
Right. I mean, that's that.
do this interview, or we're going to take away your Xbox.
Right. I mean, that is possible. That is possible. Now, is that probable? Do they say that in the article? No. My guess is, knowing that I have a 13-year-old, I can't make him be in an interview for the New York Times. If he doesn't want to talk to the reporter, he's not going to talk to the reporter. I mean, I can make him, but we're not all crazy people. So people just assumed that was a thing. Like the kid just was forced into it and was being shamed, even though he's quoted in the article and interviewed. And then the other thing was that the article says that video games are addictive, or making some sort of statement, which that's not what the article is about. It's about worried parents. And there are a lot of worried parents out there. You can't, that's a thing. Anyway, it bugged me mostly because it was like fake outrage about something that, yeah, I get, we all love video games. It wasn't like, we don't need to come to the crazy defense of anytime something might cast a negative look on video games. Let's all just breathe a little and read the article even. That's good too. If you're good, before you get upset, or don't read the article and don't get upset. That's all.
That's what I'm gonna stick with that.
Yeah, that's great. That's like a great option. But if you're gonna get upset, read the article and maybe see if it applies to you. That's all. But I think we would just have everybody would be a lot happier if we just relaxed a little bit and got outraged about things that were worth getting outraged about. And
think of how good all these kids are going to be at video games.
Right, but think how bad their grades are going to be. And how bad their social skills are. Yeah. And in the article they said the parents all right, we had to limit his Xbox time during the week. That's what we came up with. It's not like the parents were threw their hands up and we couldn't figure out what to do. Let's just talk to the New York Times. It's affecting the kids' grades most likely.
Oddly enough, when I can't figure out what to do with anything,
yes,
I call the New York Times.
Well, they'd probably be not answering your call, I would imagine.
I've been in 5 editorials. What are you talking about?
But they answer your call and help you?
Yeah, it's how do I fix this? They're well, you just need to go downstairs and flip the switch on the fuse box. I'm really? They're yeah, we just wrote 300 words on it.
That could be a good subscription service for them, like an upsell on their current digital subscription, like a hotline where you call them for just tips. Anyway, the article was fine. That's all I'm saying. And I know I'm going to get don't tell me that video games aren't addictive. Don't even start with that.
It would be terrible if they weren't. Why would you play them then?
Right. And why are they hiring psychologists to work on the games and make them, because to not make them addictive? Make sure you don't make these games too addictive now. Anyway, enough about that. We talked about Hitman.
Wombat wants to talk about Predator.
Oh, the Predator came out for Fortnite today. It is Fortnightly news.
I know it is. We should have led with this. I didn't
I
realize
know.
we had
Well,
such
you
big
went
news.
right into your New York Times thing. The Predator came out for Fortnite today. I did all the Predator challenges before the show.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have the Predator now. He does predatory things.
Does he have any cool like predatory like effects, like HUD effects?
Yeah, not so much HUD effects, but when he has the helmet on, because you could take the helmet off if you want.
Mm-hmm.
When he has the helmet on, and you do you pull the left trigger to zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
You see a little red light come out of the helmet. Little.
I want
scope.
like weird shapes. Mostly
it doesn't do the
triangles.
weird shapes. It doesn't do like the thermal vision.
Yeah,
because that would just be too. That would be too much for one character because they don't really do.
No,
that.
I mean they could just make it like an effect, not like that actually helps you, but like.
It would be cool if they had a character where the whole HUD changed. And you know what? That's not a bad idea. Like just like your little inventory was in different fonts and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that totally could work in that game. I'm surprised they don't do that.
I'm smart about games.
Yep, they might do that in time with someone else. The Terminator's supposed to come out in like a week or so.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Why not? They know,
him and Predator just make the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They figure like they've cleaned out all the money that they could from like the 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds. Let's move on to the 40-year-olds.
And they're doing a good job. Although he came with the season pass, so I already paid for it. With the season pass. I also hit level 100 this week. So I finished out my Mandalorian. He's all set now. I got the Baby Yoda.
Mazel tov.
Yes. So
We did it.
I'm pretty happy about that.
Right. Great.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I finished off Call of the Sea. I know Wombat played through that.
Yep. It's a fun game, right?
It took me, I don't know, like 4 or 5 sittings because I was playing an hour at a time or so. It is a fun game. I mentioned it last week. It's too slow. Person moves too slow.
Literally too slow. The game is literally too slow.
It's just there's a lot of like the environments.
There's a lot of empty space for no
there's
reason.
a lot of empty space. The environments are nice to look at, but I could look at them moving a lot faster still.
Right. What if they had like a scooter as DLC?
Yeah. Well, the game's only 5 hours long, so
yeah. Without like, it would be. I wonder if they made her move so slow because they knew the game was short.
Don't wonder.
Because the game's good, but like it would seriously be 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, if she moved faster.
Especially
on that third level with the cruise ship.
They know.
They just dialed back like. Down back. How long do you want this game to be? We're just going to adjust it by how slow she walks.
It's a dial, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that twist ending coming?
I don't know what
She had no legs.
I'm gonna try to also. I'll try to make this as vague as possible for the end decision.
Yes. Okay.
Did you go with stay or go?
Oh, I went go. Wait, or stay. What do you mean?
I know. Wait.
Blue, no, red.
Blue, red. Man or no man?
No man.
No man.
Good choice.
Yeah, it's a fine game. It goes some weird directions.
It does.
It's a game you get done playing and you're like, all right, I wonder why they wrote that. Like what? Worth playing though. Worth playing.
Yep.
I also started. I'm just playing Wombat's Greatest Hits right now. I started playing Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Nice.
And
it's a poor man's Zelda.
It is a poor man's Zelda.
I like it enough, but at the same time, I'm like, gosh, they just copied Zelda. Like it's blatant what they did here, and the characters like you don't get it's the Legend of Frank scenario, right? You don't have the lore of like the Zelda and the Zelda music, although they do rip off Zelda music in this as well. So some of those little lyre or harp tunes, those are almost note for note Zelda tunes.
How far along are you?
I'm past the title screen, so
Okay.
I'm 2.5 hours in, something along those lines. It's really it's good. It's just I wasn't expecting the corny dialogue. Like,
Oh yeah, that's like the thing of the game.
yeah, I was
I will
not
say this
expecting
much: when the corny dialogue kind of goes away for a while, and then it's a lot. There's less of it. Like it still shows up later in the game, but there are bigger spaces without it.
They space out the corniness.
Mm. In the
It's
beginning, like the first
yeah.
3 hours or so, there's way too much of it.
There's a lot of exposition
Yeah.
in the first 2.5 hours that I've played, but a lot of it too is like they're giving me stuff like at a nonstop clip too. Like where in Zelda, like you're like, oh, okay, I gotta go over here, and then I get like my bow and arrow, and I get my sword. Like maybe like I get my sword first, obviously, but then like an hour later, maybe I get my shield. Like this is just like, okay, here's your wings, here's your sword, here's your axe, here's your bow and arrow. Go have fun, I guess.
It's so video gamey, and not only is it so video gamey, it's a specific video gamey that they just
There's nothing wrong with that.
remade.
No, it's just so blatant. Like it,
Yeah.
But there are new swords and new axes and new bows and arrows to find.
yeah, it's just so much a carbon copy of Breath of the Wild. Like like I knew that going in, but it was like, oh god, no, really? Like
Even the circle
just,
meter,
right? Like everything.
Isn't it a circle too?
No, it's like a half moon.
But that's what the
Yeah.
Zelda. Isn't that what Zelda was? Like a half.
Zelda, I think it's a full circle.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, I'm going up here and I'm identifying all the stuff, and then I'm gonna glide down instead of with my parachute thing. I'm gonna use my wings to glide down, and oh, there's something in the water over there that's bubbling up. There's something down in the water. Then it's like, it feels like I've already played the game. Like I'm enjoying it enough, but it feels like a 7 to me, just because it's already been done.
But your weapons aren't going to break.
I didn't care about that in Zelda.
I did.
He doesn't want to be Frank Wombat. He doesn't want to.
That's quite a bit of it. Is like I don't the whole Greek setting, Greek god setting. It doesn't do a ton for me.
Racist.
Yeah, I'm racist against Greek gods. Yes. It just feels like that combined with it being a carbon copy of Zelda, them just like taking a pre-existing mythology and throwing it on top of it, it seems really lazy.
But doesn't this prove the Legend of Frank theory? Somewhat.
Well, but everybody loves this game.
Did the critics love it? What's the meta? It didn't get it's not. I guarantee it doesn't have a fucking 98 on Metacritic.
Oh well, yeah, it's not going to
it
get
has
to
like a
Zelda.
75.
Let's look it up.
Okay, well that's what it is. If it's got a 75, that's what this game is. It's a, hey, do you want some not quite as good Breath of the Wild?
Right, but is it not quite as good? What makes
That's
it not
the
quite as
question.
good? Just the license.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Legend of Frank.
I think
20
it
points.
doesn't have the magic. It doesn't have the magic. It's
But
not
is there
freeform.
magic? Okay, there is some
Yeah,
magic there. I will admit there's some magic there.
There was a lot of more unique physics. Like this has the physics stuff, but it's not as like groundbreaking as what the Breath of the Wild was.
Fair enough.
But I'll play it. I was hoping I was not expecting it to just be so like a ripoff.
They just
That's
wanted
what
to
it
test
is.
my theory. After all these years,
Right.
somebody wanted to test the theory, and they more or less proved it true. I mean, 20-point spread. I mean, big spread.